Sexual violence is a very traumatic experience, and some of the effects are the psychological torture that the survivors have to go through.
Some common effects of sexual violence can include depression, anxiety. Some people may have trouble sleeping, or they may gain weight or lose weight. And others may experience severe anxiety and panic, which can manifest itself into post-traumatic stress disorder.
Many people have immediate reactions to trauma, some which last a long time, and some which go away. So most people, after they've been violated and assaulted, are going to be fearful. They're going to be anxious. They're going to be sad. They're going to have memories come back to them, and they're going to want to avoid those memories. They're going to feel overwhelmed.
The fact that they're talking to you about it, they have to go through a whole episode over again. So in a way, it brings the picture back, the memory. It triggers the memory that had stored what they actually went through.
Triggers are those things that are basically cueing the person to the event. So for example, a rape survivor who was assaulted by someone who smelled like whiskey may go by whiskey, and whiskey can evoke that memory. And it's basically, what I often talk about, is just straight learning. When you have a traumatic experience and you're in a situation that's dangerous, your mind fixates on all the experiences around it as danger signs, and so danger bells go off even when it's no longer. It's one-time learning, and your body is basically responding, saying, help me, don't hurt me, but there's no longer that danger there, but there once was. So there are all sorts of things that might be triggers, and that can vary by circumstance. It can vary by situation. It could be the sounds. It could be postures for someone who's lived in chronic violence. It could be particular patterns of behaviors. So it's very hard to anticipate what a trigger will be for one particular person.
So when you interview a survivor of torture, sexual crimes, or any ill treatment, and you see that the person at some point freezes or stops talking, doesn't feel comfortable anymore, just shifts in some seconds, you don't know, maybe there was a trigger, maybe you can't identify what it is, maybe you said something, maybe it's something external to you. But at that point, stop, make a break, ask the person how he or she is doing, and consider that there was a trigger and that the survivor is again living a painful moment.
Something to keep in mind when having the interview and getting someone's story is that trauma works in the brain in a very nonlinear way, and survivors recount incidences from the night not in a logical way necessarily, not in a chronological or linear way. And that doesn't mean that they're misremembering or that it's inaccurate, but actually trauma as a time-based thing is more fragmented.
So the memory functions like this. Sometimes under a trauma, the survivor will not store some data that he's living or she's living, or will store them in the wrong part in the brain and lose them, and maybe have like a puzzle, like a confused story afterwards.
These gaps in memories are actually an effect of the event. If you're really experiencing something terrible, not remembering has some adaptive use.
So just understanding that a story might come out in those kinds of fragments, and you can help with the chronology gently if you need to, but knowing that it's a non-linear kind of remembering and preparing for that, I think is really useful.